Hi everyone, today we're going to take a look at Quarriors. Quarriors is a dice building game where you use dice to create combinations and buy additional dice and eventually score points. Let's take a look and see how this game, which is heavily focused on rolling dice, works on a digital platform. The game is playable with up to 4 players. These can be AI players or they can be players online. The AI players don't seem to have different difficulty levels, though I'm not sure how important this is as there's a lot of luck going into Quarriors. The way the game works is you roll a certain number of dice each turn, starting with 6. From those dice, you may roll creatures, which can be played, and then will eventually score you points if they survive to the next round, and then any additional money that you have you can use to capture additional dice. The goal of the game is to use your creatures to eliminate your player's creatures, and then leave them on the board for an entire turn so you can score them at the start of your next turn. So in this case, I'm going to be able to score these 2, which give me 1 point each, which gets me closer to my goal. The first person to reach the point goal is the winner in Quarriors. Quarriors is a fun game, and as you progress, you'll get stronger creatures and interesting spells. At the end, though, there is a lot of luck involved in the game, as each time you roll a die, there are options of the size of that die, as well as you're drawing those die from a bag, so it's hard to determine exactly what you'll get on a given turn. The game is available to be played online asynchronously, and there also are Game Center achievements, which you can reach for as you perform certain actions in the game. These achievements so far seem pretty fun and definitely worth going for. Before I played Quarriors, I was not sure how it would work as a digital game. Since it's so reliant on dice, you really have to have that visual and suspenseful element in there. So they decided to actually add virtual dice into the game, which I think, though I don't usually approve of, actually work well here since you kind of have that suspense of seeing what side they will land on, which I think is essential to any dice game. I'm already familiar with the game, but talking to new players, it seems that the current tutorial is actually pretty difficult to navigate, and sometimes the flow of the game can be hard to understand for new players. So definitely take that into account. You might need additional resources in order to fully comprehend the game. The UI is generally well laid out, though sometimes there are a few little hiccups here and there. Also, the translation can feel a little literal at times, but overall, it is functional, and you can definitely play the game and have all the information you need fairly quickly. Online play is right now pretty basic. You can play online with other players, random, or your friends. However, there are no choices in terms of really talking to the other players or interacting with them on a higher level. I would have loved to see a more extended online play system, though it definitely is there and functional if you wish to play against human players rather than the AI. Because of the nature of this game, I can imagine AI being a challenge. So far, though, the AI seems strong enough and wins a fair amount. I think this is mostly due to the fact that the game is fairly random, meaning that though you can employ a good strategy, it may be possible that you will still fail in your attempts just due to the fact that you're combining with dice, which have sides that could benefit you or not benefit you, as well as combining with drawing dice from a bag, which can control what options you have in a given turn. Playing a release build, there are a few hiccups to launch, with dice disappearing when you need them, you having to exit the game and come back in for them to reappear, those sorts of things. I think this will be cleared up fairly quickly, but just be aware that as a launch game, there will be a few things you need to work around. Also in UI, sometimes the menus can be a little misleading. It'll say new turn when it actually means it's actually an action they need to take, such as responding to an attack and that sort of thing. It's not terribly confusing, but if you are closely watching the messages that pop up on top, you might get a little confused. Quarriors is definitely worth picking up if you are a fan of the game. The game allows you to play with AI players, which feels very similar since the experience is not that different against human players due to the luck in the game. I definitely recommend picking this up since you'll be able to speed your way through the menus, you'll understand what's going on, even though it sometimes can be confusing to newer players. If you're a newer player, I recommend caution in this area. The tutorial can be a little challenging, as well as some of the bugs and lack of polish will just make it not necessarily a must-have experience on the platform. That being said, if you're willing to reach out to additional sources, you definitely can play and enjoy Quarriors on iOS today.